Hello guys, welcome back to another review. This time is for Monday Night Raw on the 19th of January 2026. They were in Belfast in Northern Ireland, back in the UK. A live show back in the UK. But main star attractions here were two title matches involving Irish competitors. Becky Lynch defended the IC title that she recently won off Maxime Dupree against Maxime Dupree again. And then the main event, which I thought was excellent, was CM Punk defending the World Championship against Finn Balor. Now, I didn't do any reviews last week. Quite simply, it just didn't feel like it. I said at the start of this year, I did the 2025 review as a whole. That was the first one I've done on this channel. I've been considering doing reviews and stuff for a long time. But it's never going to be like guaranteed. I think I did a full SmackDown review, which was like segment by segment, and then I did a weekly review where we capped all of Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. Last week I didn't do any, so I guess a quick recap there. What happened? Monday Night Raw was kind of dominated by the Braun Breaker story. They're getting banned, and that bled into the show. He was banned from the show because last week he took out who did he spear again? I think it was Dragon Lee. He just fucking absolutely decimated. That shot was amazing, by the way. They had like a drone just follow him down. Another thing that bled into this week, a few. We have now new number one contenders for the tag team championships. It's Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez won a triple threat against Bayley and Lyra and the Kabuki Warriors. That's set for Saturday night's main event. We'll run through the card for that later on. There's actually only 3 matches announced for that so far. And it's this Saturday. We're now on Tuesday. But I'm expecting Jordan Grace and Jade Cargill to get announced for that on Friday. I think it's the only SmackDown match that's looking like shaping up. Because we are still in Rumble season. And I guess from the rest of the recap last week, I think all the shows were about. I think NXT actually was the weakest this week, last week. Maybe it is already starting to feel the drops. I say the drops, the call-ups, it's the opposite. Obafemi the week before had relinquished the championship. I think the week before, the full review I did, the week ending the 12th, was it? I think NXT was the best show that week. Last week, I don't think it was. It wasn't bad, but it was just kind of meh. But I think both Raw and SmackDown were good. I think, again, Raw was decent tonight. Still, I think SmackDown's been the best show, actually, this year so far. But Raw was pretty good. In general, another thing I said in that last weekly review, which I've got to address, I guess, is I went a big rant about how shit American crowds have been recently. Thank God we're on international duty, basically. They're on the tour. These crowds haven't been as good as I thought they would be, to be fair. Maybe the costlier tickets, etc., still kind of hitting. Maybe it's the web. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. People haven't quite been as up as I thought they might. Especially the German shows. We had I criticised the Berlin crowd for that SmackDown, not Friday gone, the one before that. And then last week's Raw was in Dusseldorf. Again, I thought the crowd was fast. SmackDown was in London, but the crowd were much better for that. Drew McIntyre's entrance at the start. Kit Wilson got a huge pop. I might talk about that later. Or maybe we'll save for the SmackDown review, because all of a sudden this guy's just randomly getting over. And despite myself, I'm all for it. I was pissing myself at the segment the other day. When he comes down, he attacks Cardona, throws. His music starts. It stops the second he hits Cardona. He threw him into the steps. Kind of stops for a sec, resumes his walk, and with perfect timing, the music just happens to come on. I don't know why. I found it so funny. But yeah, London was a little better. I think Belfast was the best bunch last night, as it is last night now. For the reason I've been doing the reviews. Wow, it's crazy to say this actually, because they've been in Europe. You'd think the time suits me better. Well, my sleep pattern's been so fucked that I've basically been falling asleep like once the show's been ended. I've been falling asleep at like 10 p.m. far cry from what I normally do. So I don't even know if like, NXT I'm going to watch tonight live because of course that's still full sale. So it'll be starting at 1 a.m. and finish on like 3 a.m. It's 5 to 9 now, and I'm already tired. So that review will probably come tomorrow if I do one. Um, Raw and SmackDown, I want to try and always kind of like lock in if I'm feeling it, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, on to Raw. The show began with Gunther coming out. They had a main event over last week, Gunther and AJ Styles, which is a very, very good match, as you would expect. Two great wrestlers. And there was some controversy. Gunther tapped out like a little bitch on the side of on his ass, basically. He was tapping. But the ref didn't see. The ref is on the other side of AJ. AJ, of course, relinquishes the hold. He's tapped out. Goes to the ref. I've won. Ref, for some reason, decides to consult Alicia Taylor, even though she'd not announced the winner. Goes over, says a few words. And of course, in the time his back's turned, Gunther low blow into the powerbomb for the win. So he comes out, he's glowing, of course. AJ confronted him. This is a very good segment. Now, they're trading back and forth, AJ saying, I made you tap out like a little bitch, let's run it back. Everyone knows I won. Or are you scared? He kept throwing that. Are you scared? Gunther goes to walk away because he refuses to challenge. He's like, no, I don't need to, man. Like I beat you. I proved I'm a smarter fighter than you. And he's saying he bent the rules. He got in his head. He pulled a ruse, basically, which is fair. And he won by a dark art, shall we say? He did win. AJ's not having any of it. He wants the rematch. Gunther starts to refuse, goes to leave the ring, and then idea seems to strike him. Comes back in the ring. Now, a lot of people have been theorizing this, including myself. I did this weeks ago, predicting that this will be a series of matches between AJ and Gunther. One last week, one again maybe at the Rumble, and then could he do another one at Chamber? I don't know. You could have maybe done like a 5-match series here or something like that. I guess they just don't want Gunther to lose. Either way, I thought they'd hold off on this until Mania. But Gunther comes back in and says to AJ Styles, okay, I'll give you your match at the Rumble. Wait, is it at the Rumble or is it Saturday night's main event? I think it's at the Rumble. Yeah. So I'll give you a match if you put your career on the line. And AJ suddenly looks stricken. He's undecided. He's thinking, oh, damn. All right. There's the stipulation. Gunther looks at him. I love the line. He threw his line back at him. He went, no, are you going to accept that? Or are you scared? And he walks off. AJ's kind of left standing there. Well, before that, Gunther said, I want your answer by then. My offer's off. AJ's desperate to beat him. He wants to prove that he's better. He wants to humble Gunther after the way he was after retiring John Cena, how dismissive he was, how he squashed R-Truth, for example. So, yeah, Gunther stepped on the toes of two legends, two very popular members of the roster. AJ, another one, wants to put him in his place. We would get the answer once the night was done. Like I said, I'm not going to do like a play-by-play segment of this. I didn't make notes. For the first time in a little while, I just wanted to watch the show. Sure. And also it's tired as well. So I'll talk about things slightly sequentially out of order when it fits. And that's because later on the show, kind of towards the end, AJ Styles confirmed he's going to accept the challenge. So it's Gunther versus AJ at the Rumble. We have 3 Rumble matches locked in already now. I imagine there'll be one more. Because WWE love 4-match PLEs for some fucking reason, man. There should be more. At least in the Rumble, it makes it a little more sense, because each Rumble's going to be like over an hour long. But it's got to be Gunther win, I guess. everyone assumed it was going to be dragged out to Mania. You know, why would you go into your final year and not run until Mania? I did see a report today. It's obviously in hindsight after the show, so we'll see. But to be fair, this report said that some publication, I forgot what it is, might have been Fightful, they were, or Barbie Slam.net, they were reporting in November, apparently, that AJ Styles' contract was up in February this year. Well, the Rumble is on the last day of January, so I'm guessing it's the 1st of February, maybe. Or, probably not, actually. Even if it's like the end of February, I would like the next show after the Rumble, just to be fair, well, the 2nd of February. If he does end up retiring, and it looks very likely he's going to, because I think they've booked himself into corner now. It has to go that way. I'd like them to at least do like not so much a tribute show to him. I think AJ's humble enough. He would merit that for sure. He's humble enough that he probably would not want that, but at least do his segments. Maybe at the start of the show or at the end of the show. The locker room comes out, like cheers him or something. Maybe could have Gunther come out and try and embarrass him one last time. The whole locker just like uniting Gunther and just fucking throw him off Rios. You could do something like that. Um, yeah, I'm excited for that match. It's the fact it's got that extra something on the line. Um, I mean, it's not impossible that he does win. The problem I have here is, what would they do after this? You know, let's say he wins AJ, and then they're like, oh well, it's 1-0. We should have a dead rubber, and then the next one, if you do lose the dead rubber, then your career's up. I don't see them having the stipulation twice. Um, AJ retiring in Saudi Arabia set the choice. I'm not a fan of the Saudi shows. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll know that. During my 2025 review, I was very scathing of WWE moving there. Um, the current look of the Rumblers videos coming out right now of the stadium looking like half built. I'm sure it will be ready in time, but good God, man, they've left it late. It's 11 days now. So look, they've started building the stage, the backstage area, they're gonna have to build or set up gorilla position and all this. The Trons. There's a lot still to do. It is touch and go whether it will be ready. I think it will. I think enough money talks. They'll make sure it's ready. Because if not, that could be disastrous. Um, a part of me almost, I wouldn't say wants it, but maybe it would discourage them from going back to Saudi so often when Saudi has like no wrestling culture, tradition, or grassroots at all. So it's literally just all about the money. But at the end of the day, you want a good show. You want to be entertained, especially Rumble, which is usually my favorite show of the year. Nothing beats the Rumble, man. It doesn't matter like how bad the rest of the year is. The Rumble matches, like they're not always great, but they're always talking points. There's always a lot of talking points to come from them, and this year it's looking pretty stacked. This show, good time to say it, I guess, because also in that segment, my bad, um, Gunther declared himself for the Rumble. Has he now been removed out of the Rumble? I don't even remember if this was addressed. Or he's pulling double duty. Hmm. Maybe AJ does get retired there, but he has the last laugh by coming in and eliminating Gunther from the Rock. He's like, fuck you. It drags him down on his way out. But I do, Gunther did come out and declare, following Cody Rhodes doing it last Friday for some fucking reason. I mean, I was looking around at this company, like, if they forgot the Rumbles existed, because 2 weeks before it, no one had fucking addressed it at all. It took until a fortnight before Cody come out and London to booze. No, that's kind of wild. And he declared himself for the Rumble. So if Gunther is still in there, I don't remember whether they addressed what's going to happen if he's wrestling AJ on the same night. Shumi is just going to pull them do. Well, it's going to be a really fucking stacked rumble, man. And throughout the show, throughout the night, other people would declare themselves for it. Which I guess we will do this one more sequentially. Next up, we had a homegrown hero. Putting inverted commas. The Brit in me was cringing a little. But at the end of the day, I'm not going on about too much. Who wants politics in the wrestling chat? Northern Ireland, which is where Belfast is. I will address straight away, in case anyone is unaware, is in the UK. It's not in Britain. Britain is England, Wales, and Scotland. That island. Um, Northern Ireland is on the island of Ireland. So there is obviously very close links. They seem to reference both at times tonight to really they didn't have to justify home support for or pay much attention to Becky Lynch being there and Finn Balor being there. It's a shame Lyra didn't get her match, by the way. She did get a segment. Obviously JD's injured. But yeah, there's a big Republic of Irish contingent. No Northern Irish people there. But for sure, of course, they were going to be well up for them. It'll be the same in Britain. I think for most European wrestlers, honestly, it doesn't matter what European country you go to, they're going to get cheered. Um, unless they're a heel like Gunther or something who got booed to shit when he come out yesterday. It doesn't always matter, I guess. I mean, yeah, Becky Lynch and Finn Balor are both heels. But still booze for Becky. And, she come out and started talking shit about Northern Ireland and just saying in general she was really happy to get off that island. That's IS. Um, she also said, unlike Rory McIlroy, I get the job done. I don't fuck up the final holes. But she does this a lot. Obviously, Becky, you can tell she's kind of tuned in enough to sport, but she knows the people. She knows Irish. She knows Brits, and the cousins. They're very similar people. Um, if you want to insult, it's like this with Europe in general, I guess. If you want to get heat on the crowd, easy way to do it is by sport. I guess it still applies in America too. They still do that. I just understand those ones less because often the American sports are very, very self-contained. If you're not American, you're not really going to be as aware. It reminds me of when Gunther come out. Was it to Barcelona? All he said was Hala Madrid. Just instantly, they fucking booed him on the bill. Instant nuclear heat. Yeah, Becky called a little heel promo. And then Maxine Dupree come out. We had the opening match. Now, last time they took on each other, what was the last Raw show I reviewed, actually? It was the Stranger Things show, which I thought was a fucking awful show. And I thought the match there was pretty bad as well. I thought the finish was dumb. I don't think either of them came out. They're looking great. At the time, I said it was their fourth match, so it's tough. I was actually wrong. Yeah, that was their fifth match. This was their sixth, which is fucking insane. I'm like, it makes no fucking sense. Why six matches? In how long have they been feuding? Like a couple of months, I think. It's crazy, man. I feel like they could have broken this up a little, maybe played it longer. Obviously, they've wrapped up the story now, though. Becky got the win. Maxine was accompanied by Natalia to the ring, and I saw it coming a mile off. Natalia turned heel. Natty Neidhart, the Loki legend, has been a character that really has kind of developed over the last year or two. Am I right in saying I don't know? I don't pay much attention to other stuff that much. Am I right in saying I think she did some legit fighting? It was like an MMA spin-off kind of thing. I don't know if it was like a Bellator style event, but I think she has had some legit fight experience. I mean, Natty's tough, man. She was born and bred from the hard dungeon, of course. She's trained a lot of women there. Um, problem with this, why I didn't really like this or care for this, honestly. She's barely on TV. She's been doing most of the work in AAA. I feel like WWE sometimes just assumes their fans watch everything. I do actually. I watch, well, under the WWE umbrella. I say I do. I kind of do. I watch Raw, I watch NXT, I watch SmackDown. But then I remembered you had Evolve. I don't watch Evolve. Uh, I started watching LFG season 1 and 2 the other day, and I got like 2 episodes in, and it just didn't hit different because I know who wins. I'm watching the wrestlers. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy's on NXT. Yeah, so I know he's. So I stopped watching. I might carry on with it. I don't know. But yeah, they just have so much programming. Is that Natalia's barely been on Raw. She was in some backstage segments with Maxine Dupree and Tozawa and Otis in the past. They had the vignettes from what looked like it was, I don't think it was the actual dungeon itself, but like a training camp where she's in the ring with Maxine, practicing with her and really gearing up. That was just before Maxine did win the title. Actually, it was after. I think she was already champ at that point. And they're trying to like build her up. This whole program on the whole has helped build her up. I think this sixth match was better than the last one for sure. One of the things I said after that the fifth match, where Becky took back the IC championship, was each match kind of felt like it got worse. And then this time the trend was booked. I think this was probably out middle of the road. I think they've had better matches than this, but they've had worse matches than this. There were a few loose spots a few times. There was a bit of a hesitation or miscommunication between them. By and large, for this was decent. Okay, opening match. Went about the right length. They traded offense. Maxine did a jump and leg drop off the top rope at one point. Becky's kind of hanging over, which I think looked great. It was very mellow kind of move. You'd expect that. She's obviously got the athleticism and stuff, and she has come out of this program a lot better, as I said, but man, the crowd did not give a flying fuck about this. Maxine basically had the match won. She took out Becky with the finisher, and then I could tell where it was going. Becky's gone over. She's chatting shit to Natalia. Maxine approached from behind, does the move. Becky's close enough to the ropes. I even actually predicted this finish. Um, Partway through the match, about 5 minutes before it happened, I was like, I bet yeah, Becky's gonna lift. Natty's gonna lift Becky's leg onto a rope, and before she'd even done the move, um, Maxine, I was thinking this match has gone long enough, but I think the finish is coming. Oh wait, Becky's near the ropes now. She's gonna do the move, yeah. And I'm calling it in my head. I'm seeing it. Like I'm fucking unreal. Like I'm the match producer explaining. Like, yeah, she's gonna do that move. Yeah, and then here comes the thing, and then everything went according to plan. I'm really right. I'm a broken clock. So I'll relish in that one. I saw it coming a mile off the actual turn and the actual way it happened and unfolded as well. Crowd just didn't really give much of a fuck. Maxine, of course, gets up. It's like, what are you doing? The fuck? By this time, Becky's kind of got to her sense again, got back up to her feet. She's recuperated. There's manhandle slam. Bex finisher and gets the win. I never get expected Maxine was going to win this, but I do like the booking decision on what they did because Maxine basically had it won, but Nazi fucked her over. So it protects Maxine there, makes her look better because I mean she was already 3-2 up in the series and effectively should have been 4-2. Set to finish 3-all. Which I think it's kind of poetic. They ended all square. They both won the belt off each other. But of course, it also gets heat on Nazi for this turn. What better way to turn than and get heat in a rivalry than take the belt, cost her the belt. Problem is, it's kind of come out of a character that's just not been on TV for so long. And I mean, yes, we know Natalia is. I don't want to be harsh here. I respect her a lot because of what she's done. Say she's trained so many women over the years. She's been a fucking mainstay of the women's roster. I mean, my God, she made a debut in 2007. That's 19 years ago. She is like perhaps the longest. Has there ever been a woman with the longest tenure in WWE? I think in wrestling in general, man, maybe even that I know of. You know, I'm sure there's some Japanese women who've probably done it longer. I think like Ivory, she was in Glow and then went all the way until about 2003, 2004, I think, in WWE. Glow was the 80s, but even that, I don't know whether that was a 19-year stretch. 19 years is insane. But Natalia was never really over. You know, she was more like the workhorse of the locker room, the reliable one. You know, she's been in every rumble, which I think is kind of a perfect encapsulation of how consistent she's been. She's never been like that level, like a lot of the other girls have been. Even if she has, I know she's been champ, but she was never like, she never felt like the star. So I think her best utilization over the years, in a lot of ways, has been like elevating talent, elevating girls. And she's done that by training Maxine, but now she's going to do it on screen. Yeah, I don't blame the fans for not getting too invested. I think the way they should go now is introduce the Natty Neidhart character. Last night she wasn't Natty Neidhart. She was Natalia. She had her hair down. She didn't have it in the braids. She didn't have the tough MMA look. You know, she's just looking at her coldly as she does it, but she was presented as Natalia. Cool, Natalia. If you're gonna ramp this up a notch, make the fans care, and then do that. Of course, it could also just be because Becky Lynch won. I mean, she got booed as the pantomime villain. I don't think as anyone expected to lose, as said. But perhaps they just weren't as bothered that she cost Maxine the title because it was Becky winning in hometown WWE. Yeah, not even a home country, but yeah, whatever. Their home island. Um, Maybe that's why. I don't know. All I know is it's fucking awkward because there was just like no, there was not. There was some booze at the start. Natalia went in and there's a long beatdown. She's even getting like pulled back by the officials, the security team, and then breaks clear. She went back in and attacked her again. The crowd was just kind of like, that was it. And yeah, I don't know. It doesn't bode well for this feud. Is anyone that bothered about it? I hope so. I hope it works out. Because Maxine does have something. Um, but we'll see. Time will tell. I just think this could be utilized as like, a good way. And who knows, could this 99 character, which we've not really seen in WWE, seen it in AAA, just in bed with, but still not in WWE. Maybe this character all of a sudden will just shoot off, and it could actually be the thing to elevate Nazi's character over Maxine's, or it elevates both. Who knows? We'll see. After this, man, unfortunate one. We've seen Javon debut in recent weeks, which has been great. Fucking love Javon. My God, man, like the future this guy has, it's sky's limit, really. Do I see world champion in him? I think he'd have to evolve, maybe put on a bit more weight, kind of like Drew McIntyre when he came back and he was just so much more hench. Um, Javon's style is big jumps, flips, etc. I guess. I don't know what happened here. He got injured, unfortunately, in the match against El Grande Americano, Ludwig Kaiser. And to such an extent that they had to end the match. Now, the match was okay. It's hard to say more than okay because it literally ran for 3-4 minutes. I've watched it back before I went live on this. No, not live. Before I recorded this. I don't really see. I feel like he was favouring his shoulder a little at one point, but I don't actually see what caused it. There's obviously a strain somewhere. Just before it happened, I guess maybe this was it. he did a springboard. This is against Kaiser, of course, who he's wrestled before as well. So they had synergy, they had chemistry. I don't think anyone's blaming here at all. He did a springboard, jumping clothesline. He didn't hold his arm or anything like that. But all I know is Kaiser, who was accompanied by Bravo and fuck's the one called? It's Peyton Dunne, I think. Uh, he rolls out the ring, and you can see Jessica Carr kind of lean through the between the middle rope and the top rope and say something to him. And then she goes over, consults Siobhan. They cut to an ad break. I didn't know if this ad break was planned. I imagine it was brought forward, but you never fucking know with WWE. Because sometimes they do get like a minute into a match and like, oh, ad break. They're like, okay, okay. Kaiser showed his experience here, I think. Very, very good head. He was playing up to the crowd. They're keeping the cameras on them while they're talking to Javon. Obviously, they're wanting to keep the camera off and on Kaiser. That carried on for about a minute. He's going around. He's giving it the beans to the fans. He's obviously the heel. He's playing up to it. He's talking with Bravo, and I can't remember the other one's name. I'm really, really apologetic there to him. But yeah, he's talking to his cronies. Eventually, though, it seemed to go on long enough that the commentators kind of couldn't avoid the topic. you know, the fans at home wondering, well, what's Kaiser doing outside the ring for like a fucking minute? Does he get back in? No, they were discussing with Javon. He had an assessment by a doctor ringside, and the dreaded X went up. They had to cancel the match, ring the bell, and El Grande Americano was declared the winner. Now, I saw one tweet today address it, and it said, thank God Javon's injury is not as serious as possible. That would have really sucked. That's it. There was no like source or anything like that, and I've not seen any more news on this. So I don't know what their source was, but fingers crossed that tweet is legit and someone's seen something, which indicated that John's injury is not too severe. The fact I didn't see him hold anything, he didn't go down like awkwardly or anything like that, um, makes me hopeful that this is legit and it's not like a serious injury. Because man, that'd be shit if he gets ruled out of like the Rumble or something. That's kind of much built for Javon really to have like a viral moment. Maybe gets knocked off when he does a Kofi or Naomi and Logan. You've seen them all do that before. He could go on it, the guardrail, get back in, or remember Logan Paul and Ricochet a few years ago, and they did the double. That was such a great spot. They did a double springboard and just collided in midair. Javon's built for that kind of moment, one of those moments, which is the thing you remember from the Rumble. So it'd be really shit if he misses out on it. Hopefully he's fit for that. Yeah, go all soon, Javon. It's a shame that match got cut short. Very, very unfortunate. But I'm sure they'll run it back. I don't really see where he's going after this. They're probably just gonna kill time until the one. Maybe even it would have declared himself for the Rumble after this match, because I feel like he probably would have won. This was the third. He'd beaten the other two. El Grande was the final boss again. Who needs the Rock? El Grande is. They then cut a Spanish promo before this, I think. They were talking about the crowd, like, oh, of course, you people, you only know one language. Yeah. I think if you're going to go to any country on earth and find as many monolinguists, it is the UK. I mean, they were banging the money then. Next match, we had three luchadores. It was Penta, Rey Mysterio, and Dragon Lee against the Vision. Minus Braun Breaker, of course, who was banned from the arena. Before this happened, Adam Pearce reaffirmed Braun Breaker's suspension to Paul Heyman. He come out all, he was loving life. Apparently, I think during, him and Aldous will do those videos on the the day of Raw and SmackDown, kind of confirming the card with a run through stuff. Apparently, he made a bar. Well, it was implied by some tweets, so I didn't actually see the video. He made some kind of barb to Bron Breakker, like, "Hey, yeah, Bron, enjoy the show from your house." Basically saying, "Don't come into work today. You're still barred." Um, Despite the fact that Paul Heyman had pointed out the week prior that yes, Bron roughed up Adam Pearce, but Pearce put his hands on him first. Well, Pearce, yeah, just said to Heyman, "No, make sure he's not here tonight." Paul Heyman say, "Well, he's not here tonight." Adam Pearce said, "Well, I'm going to make sure I'm ringside regardless, because, I'm fed up of your shit. It's not just Braun, it's the rest of the division." Um, and they went off. They were both, so, man, I found this entertaining as fuck. Just seeing them at the corner of the periphery of the camera at times. Occasionally the camera focused on them, of course, but they're arguing back and forth. For a while, they're sitting there watching it, okay. Eventually, they start arguing. The match itself was fine. It was pretty good. All six of these guys can go in the ring. I rate all of them as in-ring performers, and I'm invested in all of them. Theory so far in the division's kind of been I think he's getting overly hated. A lot of people aren't even giving him a chance, really. Whereas, Logan Paul, we know he's been there a long time. He's not been in the division much longer than Theory, like a month longer. But he fits them like a glove. Theory at times has kind of felt like the odd one out. Yeah, I'm willing to give him a chance for sure. I'm still like invested and hoping he does well. I think the key thing I'd take away from this, it was the first time really I'd seen all three of them kind of work well as a team, which is promising. There's times that even something simple like they were doing tags, and then one whips. I think it was like Theory whipped Logan Paul into a splash onto Dragon Lee, and then the Ozilla Bronson Reed gets tagged in, and both Theory and Paul whip Bronson in for a similar splash. The difference in styles of someone like some Bronson Reed and I guess all three of them. I think Austin Theory is more meshes with the luchador style. Logan Paul too, I guess, but Paul's just so much bigger than him, so much taller. Um, but someone like of the build of Bronson Reed actually worked like really well with them. I think the synergy was there with some of the spots. No, it was fine. Went about what was it 10, 12 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes, something like that, which is about again the perfect length. It was a 4-match card on Raw this week, which seems a little light for like a 2.5 hour show. It probably felt extra light because the Javon match got cut short. I'm sure that would have gone like another 5, 10 minutes. The show ended up, they finished about 7 minutes early. So there's your indicator. Maybe they could have given this much more. I've said in the past, these matches where there's like a lot of wrestlers involved. I always like the idea of just giving them the longest amount of time because you get everyone involved more. But I thought they did a really good job of tagging in and out, making sure everyone got good time, got good spots here. Anyway, towards the end, of course, there were shenanigans again. Most notably, the brass knucks came back out. I don't even remember now. Was it Heyman who passed it? Like I said, I was fucking knackered last night. I was off asleep watching this. Was it Heyman who passed it to Paul? Paul ends up passing the brass knucks to Theory, who gets spotted, caught in the act by the ref right away. Or Adam Pearce as well, I think. I think he points out to the ref. He's onto him. Pearce comes over, snatches the brass knucks away from Theory. They're flung to the side. Big argument starts, of course, and then Pearce walks around. He's dismissing Heyman. He's telling him, get lost. Heyman's kind of like headed backstage. In this, all the confusion, it was kind of chaos. Rey Mysterio kind of did you'd say a heel thing, I guess. got hold of the brass knucks, put them on, end up punching. I think it was Logan Paul actually who took the pin. Or was it Theory? I don't know. I don't remember which one he punched. Um, I think it might have been Logan Paul, who then gets taken out by Penta, and Penta ends up doing a Mexican Destroyer onto. No, beg your pardon. Theory got knocked down. Penta did the Mexican Destroyer to Paul, pinned Paul. A lot of criticism as well, or a lot of people just kind of dismissing Austin Theory's role within their vision has been, oh, he's just there to eat the pins. I'm sure he's not eat a pin yet so far, so I don't know where this narrative comes from. He is most likely to eat a pin, I will say. I think of all four of them on your average week, if one of them has to. But tonight he did not. It was Logan. Good to see the Luchadores win. I fucking love all of them, as I said, especially Penta. Well, I mean, overall, especially Mysterio. His career is obviously in the twilight. Penta this year, I really want to see get pushed. I'm going to talk about this more when once I've watched all of the episodes of the current season 2 of WWE Unreal. I think I'll do a review of like all of them. Just everything I remembered about it, the talking points of the shows. Because man, there's a lot to say already. I've watched 3 of the 5 now. That was released today. This series. I'm probably going to watch the next 2 tomorrow, and then we'll do something. But yeah, on WWE Real, they were talking at one point about Heyman himself. They're saying we've got something he's Pentagon. He's so over, like he's great, and he's this and that. He is. Like I really, really want to see him win a singles title this year. So we'll see. Hopefully Dom's back soon for the IC Championship. I do have other plans in mind of what I'd like for that in the more immediate future, though, which we'll get to. As we recap some of the other segments, Rhea and Neo were out pretty early, um, talking about the tag team championships goals. Liv and Roxanne are going to challenge for this. They put the division on notice, basically. Raquel comes out, the high five each other, basically. Yeah, Raquel, you took out Stephanie Vaquer last week. Good job. Like, yeah, you've injured her. She might not even defend that. That's probably going to be the final match in the Rumble card, by the way. I don't think Raquel will be in the Rumble. Actually, no, didn't they all announce that they are going to all be in the Rumble? I don't remember if they declared or not, to be honest. I think they did, but if they're going for the tag team championships, I don't guess that matters. So with Raquel, no, I guess it would matter because why would Raquel? The women's rumble is always first. It's at the start of the show. It would kind of make it obvious she's not going to win the rumble. Um, so I imagine she's not going to be in it. But yeah, a lot of people have come out and said that they interpreted this segment as like, oh, this break is definitely going to happen soon, and it's indicative of that. I don't doubt the break could happen soon amongst the Judgment Day. And again, we'll talk about something later on, which makes me think this. But I haven't really seen much of it from set. Liv and Roxanne are definitely like overly lovey-dovey for sure. Are they all wearing this segment? They're all like, oh yeah. But there has been a little tension. Liv talking about how like, God, this line was so fucking cringe. I think it was purposely supposed to be like this, as I said. Like, you're not just the prodigy, you're my prodigy, says Roxanne. Like, I didn't know what to make of you at first, but I love you now. Yeah. Credit to WWE for trying something different, I guess. I mean, when Liv first came back, I think everyone just assumed it was going to be Roxanne and Raquel going for the tag championships. That is the team that had it after Liv got injured. The team that lost it, are they going to take it back? But no, they've pivoted off for now. Liv and Roxanne, sorry, going for the tag champs at Saturday night's main event, and Raquel challenging back here. Who knows when? I think it will be at the Raw. I don't. find this easy to call this tag championship match, honestly, because ordinarily, if it'd been any other time of the year, I'd been like, oh, Io and Rhea will retain. And that's no disrespect to Liv and Roxanne. I think that's, if anything, a compliment to Rhea and Io. The fact that I would just assume they would retain. Because, Liv and Roxanne are both great wrestlers. They're both over. Liv's a former world champ, one of the top women in the company right now. And Roxanne is getting there. She will be there probably the next year or so, honestly. But normally you'd expect the first defense to be successful, and there's Rhea and Io, probably the two best wrestlers in the company amongst the women, possibly. They're right up there. They put on bangers. They're both staying over. I think the loudest cheer of the night was for Rhea, and it is often the case now. Like she is it's insane how over this woman is. The reason why I'm not sure about that is because of what I've just said. They're both so prominent, so great. Usually kind of shoe-ins for, oh, one of the title matches at Mania has got to be on them. Are you going to have them as tag championships? Because it does make them less likely to win the Rumble, you expect. Or the Chamber, if they still get the championships by then, you expect. For all we know, the Chamber could end up being a tag championship. Because for a long time, there have been so many teams that have been revolving around this belt. There's been like 6 teams. Are they going to throw all them in a chamber? They could do. If Bianca's were to come back, I don't get this obsession everyone seems to have with. Oh, well, if Bianca's back, she has to win the Rumble. Why? The Rumble is a way to get to that title match. Bianca doesn't need that. She already has the story with Jade that you could pick up and the past history that you could reference. On a personal level, I wouldn't do either, honestly. I don't even know if Bianca's going to be back, but I think the Charlotte Alexa possible breakup story is the best story you could do on SmackDown if you're going to look at the SmackDown World Championship match. But we all know WWE don't have the balls. I'm sure Bianca probably will be back and maybe will win the Raw. But yeah, Rhea could win it, Io could win it, Liv could win it, Roxanne could win it. I mean, she was runner-up last year. Roxanne is one of them, along with Alexa and Lyra. They're my 3 picks who I would really love to see win the Rumble. Anything after that? Depends who, I guess. Yeah, if Liv wins, am I going to be mad? No, because fucking love Liv and she's great. Um, I think the other 3 are better options. A lot of people, even saw some Rhea Neo fans kind of say it was like bittersweet almost, or they almost didn't even want them to win tag championships because they feel like it will maybe lock them out of big WrestleMania matches. Are they going to keep this belt going into Mania and defend it there? You could absolutely do like a big, even like a lot of people have been talking about Theorycraft and TLC match between 6 teams in Mania, and maybe they'll look at that as like, a way to get all the women on the card, or a lot of women on the card. You have Rhea and Io versus the Kabuki Warriors versus. I think in this scenario, Liv is going for the World Championship by this point. I don't think Raquel's going to beat Vaquer, or maybe I don't know. I guess because what would Roxanne do then? Could go for the IC belt, but I think that's going to be Becky Lynch vs AJ Lee. Could you do Raquel wins the championship and then Liv wins the Rumble and they go at it, not just splinters apart for Judgment Day? I think a lot of people always thought the breakup of Judgment Day would come between Balor and, I mean, it has been Balor and everyone else basically, Balor and Priest, and then they all turned on Rhea. I think everyone thought it'd be between Balor and Dom. Well, maybe it's the women who kind of fractured it up. Obviously, if Liv goes one way, Dom's going to go the same way. Where would Roxanne go? Probably with Raquel. And stay heel. I think Liv and Dom would be facing this scenario. There are many, many different ways to go about it. I think the setup of this match has made things very interesting. But I'm going to go with Rhea and Io retain, and then I think they'll lose it in like the weeks to come. There is another match already set up, which is kind of wow. You've got this title match set up for Saturday night's main event, and the night before on SmackDown, there's a number one contender match, triple threat this time between Alexa and Charlotte and Nia and Lash and the team of Julia and Kiana. The obvious choice is Alexa and Charlotte to win this. They did have a match with Rhea and Io just after. This is supposed to be a number one contendership match just after War Games. The 2 nights after War Games finished, and it was a banger. It was really really good match. And then the Kabuki Warriors, who were the then champs, interrupted it and fucked things up. So maybe they'll run that back. I could see them doing Nia and Lash though. Then you have face versus heels. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't mind who wins this match, honestly. And I say that as a big Alexa fan. Julia and Kiana, how great would it be to see Julia wrestle against Io? That just fucking gets my juices going. The idea of that. So, we'll see. The Rumble declarations continued because you had to get the yeet it, didn't he? Jey Uso, seen backstage, comes out, does his yeet, declares himself for the Rumble, puts everyone on notice, says he's going to go back to back. God forbid. I like him better now he's back in Tag Division. Yeah, it just please for the love of God, there's no chance in hell. He has 0% chance to win this Rumble. I could see them maybe even like keeping him towards the end just to fuck with people. Like say for example you get to like a last 8 and the 7 favorites consented because there's a lot of guys in this Rumble. It's gonna be so stacked, man. You're gonna have Over, Braun, Gunther, but potentially like I said, don't know what's happening now he's wrestling AJ. Cody, Randy's probably going to be in there because I don't think he's going to win a Saturday main event match. Rock, I don't know if it said over for me. And then the last one you can have like Jey Uso, but he actually like survives longer than like 3 or 4 of these. You can maybe do something like that so the fans are starting to get like, oh god, is he actually going to? They're actually going to do it. Bruce Pritchard's put his foot down again. Fucking clown. No, he comes out, he declares, Jimmy went there. Jimmy is not on the tour. I saw some people, fucking social media, some clowns. Oh, is Jimmy not there? And obviously a lot of people like, his wife's pregnant. Oh yeah, but she's only like 5 months pregnant or whatever. It's like, bro, like only. I mean, also they're in like the late 30s. They've been trying for children for ages, apparently, for like years. Finally got pregnant. Yeah, there's no fucking way he's leaving his wife's side to come for a couple of shows. Um, so no blame on Jimmy at all there. The New Day did find a complaint with it though. The Usos have set up an open challenge, and the New Day, to be fair, correctly came out and said, "Well, we've accepted that. Like, where's our match? Where the fuck's Jimmy?" They complained. Came up. I think they were listening to Kathy Kelly was on the show, which is unusual because normally she does SmackDown, Jackie Redmond does Raw. They were both on the show. I guess they're just done with. I think they're done with the house shows now, like the SmackDown side of it. This was like the last show of the tour, so they were like, "Oh, why not come over? I'll have both of them on." And hey, no complaints because they're both. I love them both. I think they're both great reporters. They're both fucking gorgeous as well. So seeing 2 beautiful women on screen, better more. But yeah, they were complaining. A match was set up by Adam Pearce in the end, and it's going to be next week. New Day versus American Made. So it's Otis and Cesaro versus Alpha Academy. So Creed and Super Guy, they're back. Who had last seen? Oh, the Americanos. Now, when he said Americano, I assume it's going to be Bravo and the other guy. Like, If ever there's an indication that the Raw tag division is fucking dead, it's this, man. I don't understand, first and foremost, why they didn't put the Vision in this. A combo of them. I would go with Paul and Theory. Well, why the Vision members? You know, they keep talking on the Vision. Why are they not going for the belts? Ever? Even when Dom was there, none of them really seemed to give a fuck. Towards the end, actually, when Dom was there, Logan Paul, of course, he came out and he started talking shit, saying he's going to take the IC belts. This is after they've fully been united. Austin Theory was there, and they were fully formed. And then he ended up in a beef with Rey Mysterio for a couple of weeks. Then Dom gets injured. Hopefully he's back soon. Um, I don't get why they're not in a tag. I mean, I guess they were doing tag duty against the Luchadors right now, and they're kind of embroiled in that. But I'd have brought them into it as well, because I'm sorry, I just do not give a fuck to see any of these teams. The New Day a little more because we do see them on screen a bit more. I even know who's in some of these teams. It's been that long since it's been on television. Does anyone as well seriously think that any of these teams have a shot at beating the Usos? Not a fucking chance, man. It's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time, number one, contendership match for a match that would then be a waste of time as well. Like, I don't care. When you compare that to like the Saturday night main event, because this will be the main event for sure. It's going to be Sami Zayn versus Damian Priest versus Randy Orton versus Trick Williams. Sami is probably going to win this. It's in Montreal. The Rumble's in Saudi. There's been a big emphasis recently on his 0-11, I think, record it is against Drew McIntyre. So the fact they keep bigging up and really like playing up to it makes me think that it's going to be a Sami. It makes all sense. But any of those four could feasibly win and wouldn't really have too much of a gripe. In terms of how they've been booked and stuff. Any of those four I could see going on to beat Drew McIntyre as well, honestly. Like you could make the argument for them to beat Drew and believably beat them. This fatal four way, none of them. So I don't give a fuck, man. Do not care about this match coming up whatsoever. Do not really care about the winners match against the Usos whatsoever. So why not throw some of the others in? I guess Dragon Lee, he was a team with AJ Styles. That looks like it's done. AJ looks like he may be going into his last hurrah here. And it seems like he doesn't have anyone else to team with. Well, here's a fucking idea. Put him with Rey Mysterio. Put Penta with Rey Fenix. You could have two new teams form then. And then drop any of two of the Vision. You could even do it like Freebird rule. If they ever won the belts, especially, you could just alternate them around. I would predominantly focus on Logan Paul and Austin Theory there. That's three teams right away. Rey Fenix is wasting away in SmackDown, man. He teamed with Andrade for a while. I mean, if I had my way, I would make one set of tag belts between the whole division. The women's tag scene right now is far better than it. SmackDown's tag scene was really great. I'm not going to go over this again. I've talked about this in previous videos, but yeah, TLDR, they carried the summer of SmackDown, and then once the Wyatts won it, just given the nature of the Wyatts gimmick, the such an infrequent act, etc., it just kind of fell apart, the whole division. Street Profits, no one's seen him in months. MCMG also disappeared. Ciampa, I think the word is out that he's basically left now. So DIY is no more. Andrade left for AEW. Him in Phoenix is no more. All these teams, one by one, just fell. Fraxium is still there, but they're just limited to backstage segments, basically. Just a fucking crime. Absolute waste. if there was one set of belts, you could have Fraxium turning up, put them in this match. How good that would have been, man. Like, yeah, it's just frustrating me. I would definitely, unless you bolster the division, Raw's tag division has been shit for a long time. You have a chance to maybe make something more of it, or even do the opposite. Take Penta from Raw, put him on SmackDown, have the Lucha Brothers reform, and have them. I mean, they'd be left with the Wire too, as I said, a kind of infrequent up, and the MFTs. But I'm sure if the Lucha Brothers were back, then maybe we'd see the Street Profits again. Maybe we'd see Fraxer again. Imagine those matches you could have. And then if Penta was on SmackDown, you could put him in the US Open Challenge against Mello. Oh, what a match that'd be. I don't understand it. You know, that has to be the way to go, I guess, because now Dragon Lee, now AJ Styles is looking like he's in the final run. He's kind of just left in limbo. I think they're going to play this out for a little while longer. The Luchas versus Vision, I guess. But yeah, it just felt like an extra waste when you saw the state of this fucking fatal four-way match. When Io and Rhea were talking, Raquel ambushed them earlier on. I forgot to mention that, my bad. Thinking of some of the other segments, we had a Punk interview with Jockey Redmond where he's really high up on it. He came out to a lot of boos, actually, which is just purely because of Balor being the homegrown. And then just after that, I think Pierce confronted Heyman. Yeah, and after Heyman tries to pass Brass nuts, or his guys were it. I don't even remember who did it. He had a call, and then it cut away. I think it cut away to CM Punk during that. It cuts back to him later on, Pierce, and all of a sudden he's saying, "Okay, I'll meet with Braun Breaker. Have him come to my office. Have him come next week." Heyman said something like, "Oh yeah, I would have a change of mind as well if I received that call." So I think the implication is basically the lawyer has been called. Braun's lawyered up. Um, Obviously, the argument was that Pierce put his hands on Braun first. Well, who knows? Maybe it's Scott rang up or Rick. They rang up for the fucking Scott Steiner could have rang him up and cut a promo in his ass. He's like, "Well, I'm not employed by you, so I can beat you up." And I will. Motherfucker. Who knows? I don't know. I was like that thought that suddenly occurred to me just makes me laugh. Lyra Bailey also declared for the Rumble, as well as the Lucha's Doors, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, and Penta. The fact that Lyra and Bailey declared, but Lyra, she only got a backstage segment, is a fucking shame. It's a bit of a shame, man. Like, there was just no room to do anything else with her, but it's twice. They had a show in Dublin. In August, which to be fair was a SmackDown. So, Raw Superstars shouldn't have even been on there. But they had Becky on. Could have had Lyra, but they did. Um, so yeah, at the end of the day, I guess they had to pick two from three. So I don't begrudge having a title match on there. It's always extra interesting to get a title match. Um, and then Finn Balor getting the nod was very good as well. Before we go into the last match, there was another segment and more declarations for the Rumble. Kyrie and Asuka are both going to be in there. I read today, and I thought to myself, this can't be true, can it? Apparently, Kyrie's never in the Rumble. Someone said. I didn't even fact check this or anything. I didn't even see the comment. I was just scrolling. Is this legit? Like, the fuck? This is fucking crazy to me, man. But if it is the first Rumble, then wow, yeah, good luck to it. but she seems content not to win. Asuka was kind of furious that they'd lost the number one contendership match last week. A week after losing the titles, man, I went on a rant a while ago about how their booking has just been awful in the last couple of weeks. I mean, they largely carried the Io Rhea angle, honestly. Io Rhea contributes to it, obviously, of course, but I think Asuka's work, Kairi's work, and that's the better aspect of it. And it's just so typical of WWE, you know, Io and Rhea are the big stars, so we're going to make them come out of it winning everything. Yeah, give them more wins, man. So it's not been a great couple of weeks for them. Put it that way. Uh, Kyrie's fearful of Asuka as ever. Promise she's going to help Asuka win the Rumble if she's in. I'll make sure you win the Rumble. Now, are they finally going to split them? They're finally going to give them a solo run. Maybe it could even lead up to a big match. I don't think it'd be a Mania match. I don't think it's Mania worthy, honestly. And I wouldn't do it if they ended up going like a big, all these tag women's teams in like a big match at Mania. Maybe you could get them on there. But who knows? It's a possibility. You know, Kairi saying this. Maybe she's going to eliminate Asuka, or Asuka's going to eliminate her, and there's finally some division between them. We'll see. I think this was just a segment to be a segment, just to show them declaring. To be honest, I don't expect. Well, I mean, there's no chance either of these wins the Rumble at all. I don't expect them even to be near the end. Um, I'm sure after this they'll probably go back into the tag title picture and I'll be challenging for that. Maybe CM Punk, as I said, he comes out to. I mean, people are still going to sing his song. He's still over. He's still CM Punk, still a legend, and everyone loves him. But then Balor comes out. Finn Balor, this has been set up, and nah, happy. Finn Balor's one of those guys who's like, all the fans love him. Everyone loves him. He's like got such a storied career. You know, it's ironic this happened in the same. Was it a week after the Bullet Club finally officially ended as well? Of course, Finn Balor started that in NJPW all those years ago and became one of the biggest factions of in wrestling history. AJ Styles was it? He took over after that. He was on the same show. Yeah, Balor, excuse me, had been name dropped by CM Punk a number of months ago. I think that was just after Punk had won the championship. He says, you know, I want to be a fighting champion. I want to take on. There's a lot of great guys back there who didn't get the stripes. Guys like JD, guys like Finn, two of the ones he mentioned. Well, unfortunately, JD's injured, but the other Irishman, Finn, was chosen. Came out to his old NXT theme, and everyone went crazy, man. Great to see. Like I said, this guy is just one of those guys I think who's more appreciated by fans. When you look at the way WWE's handled him over the years, it's not great. I mean, he was massive. He was such a big deal in NXT. He's definitely like if you have an NXT Hall of Fame, Mount Rushmore, he's on there for sure. He's probably the first name on there, honestly. Uh, yeah, was it 2 year run overall? But like one of them was like a year run as champ or something. He wins the Universal Championship very soon. It's his main roster debut. He gets injured the next day. Everything was just so fast. Um, Over the years, he just kind of find himself in mid card hell and just never could really get above that. The Demons' mystique was kind of never the same after he fell. You know, there was just kind of one thing after another where he's always kind of threatened to reach that level. Kind of like one similar to what LA Knight's been the last couple of years. Great to see him being given a main event here, and I think he stepped up big time. He's always been a great wrestler. This was a really, really good match. You know, for any clown, I see this sometimes who, for whatever reason, thinks CM Punk's washed or he can't go anymore. The age of 48. He showed in this. This was a great match. I mean, sure, Punk's looking gassed and he's looking a bit winded when you're giving him like. I mean, he looks that 5 minutes into any match these days. You know, he's especially struggling a bit when he's in like a half an hour, 40-minute match. The big PLE main events. But fucking, of course, yeah, I mean, what do you expect? I think most people would be. You put them on that long. Brock always is. Brock's sweating buckets. He's always fun. But he's still going. He gets the second win. He's still a fucking beast all match. And Punk's usually like that anyway. This match was a little shorter. It was like 20 minutes or so. Um, I thought it was going to go even longer, I guess, because Javon's match got pulled because of his injury. But no, they just ended the show earlier. I forgot, of course. This isn't for like USA or anything. It's just straight Netflix. So they can end whenever they want. And I guess it'd been too dangerous to like add. No, okay, I guess it'd have been too dangerous to just add an extra 5 or so minutes just on the fly without like rehearsing it and choreographing it or anything. So they were just like, all right. But what we got was really good. Number of good spots. I mean, at one point, Punk came off, did a superplex, and roll through. And as Punk's looking to roll back, which is just a move he did later on, you know, he lands with Finn on the ground. He looks to roll back. As his legs start to get up, Finn brings his legs up and hooks them into like a cradle. That was just such beautiful timing, man. But, excuse me, these two guys work actually on the last European tour. If you remember seeing the results, they worked a lot of matches on the house shows together. For a while, it was Judgment Day versus Punk and Jey Uso and LA Knight or Jimmy Uso or any combo of that. And they work really well together. Or sometimes it'd be Judgment Day versus Vision, even heel versus heel. So they know each other. CM Punk had obviously handpicked him out, and I think that was just legit Punk. It wasn't like a scripted thing or a thing he's been directed to do. These are guys he said, yes, I would like to wrestle these guys. Um, really, really good main event. Best Raw main event I've seen since probably Charlton Laxer versus Bailey and Lyra, which was late October, I think, or early November. So yeah, best one in a couple of months. Definitely best Raw main event this year so far. Was it perfect? No. Is this going to be better as a main event this year? Yes, I think it will. But it was a really solid match, like a 4 out of 5 for me. Bar even kicked out of a GTS at one point. He got his coup de grace off. Punk it, so second GTS after Punk did finally do a flat into a roll, into getting him on the shoulders. And he gets the free count. Balor obviously is a heel, but whenever there's a hometown hero, they effectively become face for a night. And it was played up more to that again at the end. Not that a face can't give props to a heel, or almost like very kayfabe in that regard and show respect to them. But it's unusual. That's what Punk did. He went up to Finn, raised his hand. Yes, he's the hometown hero, so it's going to get Punk cheered again. I mean, the fans were cheering when he won it. After a smattering of boos for the pantomime of it, we want to see the Republic of Irishmen win the belt in Northern Ireland. But when it's all said and done, they're going to cheer him. I don't think anyone expected Balor to win this. It wouldn't have made any sense. I didn't even want him to win this. I love the guy as one of those underrated dudes who's just always there, always solid, always consistent, and never quite been given stripes as much as he also has done. I don't know though, like whether this is part of something bigger, because he did a promo a couple of weeks ago during a Netflix show. I think it was. Or maybe it was the last Raw of 2025. He's talking about 2026 is going to be my year. I'm going to finally get my singles push. He's basically like Sami Zayn. He said this for 2025 as well. Fuck all that. He was in the mix for the IC Championship, of course. He had the Mania match, lost out to Dom, and then ended up as tag champ with JD for a while in a truly horrific reign. But it wasn't their fault. There's no division. They made one defense in 4 months. Arguably the worst tag title reign ever. Has there ever been a worse one than that? I don't know. It was fucking abysmal. But it wasn't their fault. They just weren't booked into matches. So yeah, 2025, I don't think it was the greatest for Balor. Can 2026 be better? Let's hope so. Like I said, there were shades of like, it felt almost like a face promo to me. I don't know if that's just my interpretation or other people felt this way. And after last night, the support he got, home support, you could go in the direction of him and Finn. I think it's time the Judgment Day do split. I was talking about before with some tension between Liv and Raquel, possibly, or Liv and Roxanne, or Roxanne and Raquel. Whatever combination of them you want to go with. It's 5 years, is it now, of the Judgment Day, formed by Edge, Priest, Rhea. Yeah, I think it's 5 years. It's 2021 seems to fit. When they kicked Edge out in 22, was it? It's just, it's overrun. Like they're still prominent. I don't see how you can have a faction going that long without some kind of. They've had reshuffles, but reset. Yeah, I mean, you could end it and then pick them up again in a couple of years if you really wanted to. There's no harm in that. I would like to see this. I don't know. The only thing is then, like, who's the face? Because I was saying if Dom and Liv break away, there's every argument. People have been saying this for years. People have been clamoring for it. Say clamoring for years, clamoring for months, I should say. Of break Dom and Liv away, and they will be faces because Dom's on those heels. He's still got cheered because he's so great what he's done. Um, yeah, people want to cheer Finn as well. So who knows? Maybe JD comes back and makes a play to take over and tries to them all out. I don't know. Either way, however they do it, I would like them to get to Dom versus Finn in some capacity. I'd like Finn to win singles gold this year. I don't think he's going to win the world championship. I think they're gearing up long term for Bron Breakker. Rumor has it Obafemi is going to appear. We saw another Obafemi promo here. Not promo, a little vignette teasing his arrival onto the main roster. I've been seeing them for a few weeks now, even when he was in NXT. So they've been showing them on both shows, Raw and SmackDown. I think his better fit is SmackDown. I think it's a fucking no-brainer. Don't understand why there is reports that he's going to come on Raw, but apparently he is. How many times is Finn Balor gonna get another title match even? If you're Braun Breaker, Obafemi, Dominic, who has age on the side, Bronson Reed on Raw, there's a lot of guys there. Roman, Seth will come back. Punk himself is still champ, it's gonna take some doing to take it off Punk. I don't know. I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm not sure how they're gonna do that. So I think it's gotta be the IC belt, and I would love him to dethrone Dom eventually. So we'll see. Yeah, all in all, I thought this was a good, solid episode of Raw. I don't think it was a barnstormer, but it advanced a lot of stuff. There was several talking points. I mean, as you can see, I didn't even do like a play-by-play review, and my review's gone like an hour 20. Um, Gunther AJ, that announcement was really seismic. This, are we going to see the last Raw of AJ Styles' career? Certainly is next week. As I said, I think if he did retire at some of at the Rumble, and surely he has to now. Like, surely that result is just a formality now, you'd think. Because why else would they have added the stipulation to begin with? If that is the case, then the Raw after, which is 2 Raws from now, I would like them to bring him on, do something with him. Maybe they're pushing this through now so that they can get him in the Hall of Fame for Mania. Oh, that thought only just occurred to me. That could be it. He could be the headliner. Stephanie McMahon is the only one who's been announced so far. I have no problem with Steph going in the Hall of Fame at all. I think she was great at what she did as a heel character, as a face authority figure, as a heel authority figure, even as a wrestler. I mean, she wasn't great. Obviously, she wasn't really a wrestler. But for a woman who wasn't an actual wrestler, she never embarrassed herself or anything like that. She never looked that out of place. She looked okay. She could do stuff. Even like, man, when she was when she took teaming up with Triple H, take on Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey, what year was that? 2018, I think. Even then, she would still go. And how old was she at that point? Probably like 40. Still kicking ass. Some people criticize her being in the Hall of Fame. I don't understand it. I think she more than deserves to be in it. But is she like a headliner? No. AJ Styles, that's it. Now I've said that, I think that is going to be it. That is going to be my prediction. He will be. I know some people have talked about maybe John Cena. I feel like they'll save John Cena for the Saudi Rumble, Saudi Mania, sorry, next year. So he'll be 2027 class. But yeah, maybe this explains why they're potentially retiring him off at the Rumble as opposed to waiting to Mania. Maybe if they did the Hall of Fame at that Mania, people would have been a bit more like, oh, well, it's obvious he's going to lose. Doing the Rumble adds a little more intrigue. I don't know. I feel like a woman and Aaron, surely they booked themselves into corner here. We'll see. All right. I think the only match announced for Raw next week was that Fatal 4-Way number one contendership match for the tag titles. I imagine that will take place on the night after Rumble. They're not going to put that on the Rumble Saturday. Well, Saturday night's main event is this Saturday, so I can't do that. Looking at NXT. Will I do a review of the show? I don't know. I'm more likely to be back to SmackDown. They're Raw and SmackDown big shows. Although NXT in 2025, I enjoyed more than both. They have been gutted a bit. Last week was next weekend. But we have got some good stuff coming up. Jada returned. She's in a feud with Lakes. They're going to continue on something with those. Sure, they're going to have a promo battle. I think that it's mainly going to be dominated by the qualifying matches. They're doing 6 qualifying matches now, and then 6 guys are going to go in on and the one contend. Well, it's like one contendership, a tournament for the vacant NXT Championship belt. That's going to be up for grabs. So tired. And we'll see. We'll see where they go with that. It starts in 3 hours. There's no fucking way. I'd struggle to even stay awake until it's on, and I'd probably fall asleep watching it. So I'm probably gonna watch that one tomorrow, and the rest of Unreal. Yeah, I don't think I will bother with doing a C review this week actually because I want to do an Unreal one, and I've got 2 episodes of that to watch as well, and then I'll kind of review all of them. As a collective, not like individual. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I do individual. I think more likely as a collective. Just give my thoughts on the program, how everyone came across, etc. Because, as I said, I've got some thoughts already, some rants in me. My God. So until then, that'll probably be the next video. But we look forward to Friday Night SmackDown as well. SmackDown has been much better in recent weeks. Hopefully that continues. But yeah, solid episode of Raw for me. I'll give it 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. I think it was good.